the Mamba, like what you've done with that name. So I want to start with like the Mamba League. You and Nike had a relationship that went way back, but the partnership there, and not only that, but to have it boys and girls, it's almost like a 50-50 thing. If you can explain like where did the idea come from and working with them to make this league?
Well, looking at youth basketball and the way that it's currently constructed, I wanted to create something that could teach kids how to play the game properly. Mm-hmm. Like growing up in Italy, we had a league called mini basket. And I played in mini basket, and the baskets were smaller.
Yeah.
The dimensions of the courts were smaller. The size of the ball was smaller. And what that enabled us to do is that enabled us to shoot with proper form.
Yeah.
That enabled us to use our imaginations so we can do some of the things that the pros would be doing.
Yeah.
Like finishing around the rim and all that sort of stuff. Because kids now that are, 8, 9 years old trying to play on 10-foot hoops, it's not going to work, man. Mm-hmm. And they're playing on the same size court. It's like, you can't. You wind up having like 10 kids underneath a basket just kind of chucking it up there. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to create something where kids could learn structure, learn ball movement, and learn how to shoot properly.
The youth sports is so important for you. What is it about helping the youth out? Because I know there's so many pros and college players that want to work with you, but you've really focused on youth sports.
Yeah, well, there's such a, I think coaching young kids is the most important thing we can do as, if you think about a teacher in a classroom, you teach a curriculum, you provide quizzes, tests, things of that nature. But the thing that's missing from the classroom is the emotional element that kids are going through.
Yeah.
So if I'm sitting in a classroom, I'm learning critical thinking, I'm learning about history, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
But when you're playing, there's an emotional element to it that each kid goes through from play to play.
Yeah.
So that makes them more emotionally open, more vulnerable, and also more powerful.
Yeah.
And so as coaches, if we are not conscious of that, we can do a lot of damage to children with a roll of the eyes or like a yell or things of that nature, which can also help them in a really positive way.
Yeah.
But it's not something that we take very seriously.
Yeah.
We think it's sports, you just kind of go out there and
Sure. Yeah.
No, it needs a lot of care. And so I look at that from that standpoint, and that's why I love working with young kids, because it's a great opportunity to not just prepare them for the game, but put them on the path to hopefully prepare them for life.
Yeah.
And the struggles that'll, inevitably come.
You've been such a supporter of girls basketball, female basketball. I've seen you at so many games and you coach. Talk about the evolution of that game and the league and not to toot your own horn, but like the fact that you're involved, I think, helps shed more light on it, hopefully.
Yeah, well, I just love the game in general, and I've always been a big supporter of it. Obviously, going back to watching Tamika play and us growing up together in Italy and watching her do her thing at Tennessee and then in Indiana. So I've always been a huge supporter of the women's game. And then having daughters, one in particular that really wants to play ball, the other one plays volleyball. And just trying to enhance the women's game, not just in basketball, but in volleyball and other sports, is extremely important, man. And anything that I can do to help, I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And, like when we play our games, we just had the Mamba Cup, and we have all these teams that we compete against.
Yeah.
But it's always very important that I communicate to my team and to the other coaches that we may be seeing, other players, that this is a joint effort.
Yeah.
This is a joint effort to raise the women's game.
You and Gigi seem to be attached at the hip. When you're at these games and she's watching, and when you see clips, I'm sure you see it firsthand. But I'm like, that looks like Kobe. I mean, talk about the relationship you guys have in terms of her mannerisms and how competitive she is and things like that.
I mean, it's a trip to see her move and some of the the expressions that she makes, and it's a trip.
Yeah.
Genetics. Genetics is a real thing, man.
Yeah.
But what I love about Gigi is her curiosity about the game. She's very curious about the game. And even in a very heated situation in a game where it's very competitive, it's back and forth, she can detach herself and come over and ask a very specific question, which is not common, right? You can, in a moment where it's kind of tense, she'll come over and say, okay, in this particular trap here, when I'm trying to close the gap and she's on the outside, do I need to change the angle a little bit different? Very specific questions.
Yeah.
And, all of our girls can do that. But that's the part that I think is most exciting, is that it's her curiosity and her ability to think critically in tight situations. This is pretty damn cool.
If you're a girls player, you kind of want to go to Connecticut usually, and she likes Diana Taurasi. I mean, that's pretty far from home. I mean, could you envision your good friend and your daughter not being next to you?
Well, it's as parents, it's you never want to see your kids leave home. But eventually they have to.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but that's the thing about sports and making sure you hope as parents when you send your kids off to school, they have good teachers and good mentors in the classroom. You hope that whether they're playing club soccer, volleyball, swimming, basketball, lacrosse, they have good coaches there with them that are preparing them, that are consciously, that understand the importance of preparing the kids for when they leave home and when they're off on their own and they have to make these decisions. So then you can trust the fact that, okay, you gotta open up the kids.
That's right.
Go, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We're at a great point in Los Angeles sports where when we were kids and I grew up here, we had the Olympics in 1984, we had the World Cup in 92, we had a Super Bowl, and now this generation of kids are going to get that with the 2028 Olympics, 2026 World Cup will have games here. What can those big events do for youth sports and kids watching the World Cup and Olympics firsthand?
Well, it depends what we use from it. I mean, aside from just the inspiration of the moment and getting more kids active and more kids excited about playing the game, young women in particular. Yeah. It's also what we do with it, right? And some of the connections that we're able to build or the systems we're able to put in place to help coaches be better, to help them understand how to connect with kids more, how to teach kids better. How to connect with parents, understand parents, how to parent better. And with the differences between pushing and pulling and putting too much pressure on each other. So if we can use these big moments to create systems in place where we can help educate, help change things for the better, then it can have a very, very long-lasting impact versus just an inspiration type of thing. Yeah.
What was the Mamba Pro Invitational like? That seemed like such an exclusive event, and there was this, Kawhi and you had the picture together, and Paul George was there for a bit. What was that like, and what did you learn? Or, Kawhi and Paul, but they're now here now. So, what was it like to work with them?
I mean, listen, they're tough.
Yeah.
And I've known them both for a very, very long time. And Paul, when he first started, and Kawhi. And they were just very inquisitive. Yeah. I remember sitting with Kawhi at an All-Star game. I can't remember what year it was. Maybe he was in L.A. even. And he was there I think it was his rookie year.
Yeah.
Kawhi's first year was what? It was 04?
He was in the same draft class as Paul George. I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember what it was specifically, but we had a Nike suite at an All-Star game, and he was in the suite. I was there, and he just came sat next to me, just started peppering me with questions about the game and summer regimen and all this other stuff. And so he had a curiosity right from the beginning, and PG the same way.
Okay.
But they're competitive on both ends of the floor. It's not like a tit for tat. Hey, I score. You can't stop me. I can't stop you. They don't believe that. It's, you can't stop me. I will shut you down. Yeah. And that's a very different mentality that players have now. Not a lot of players have that, man. Yeah. Everybody wants specialists that can come in and defend, and they don't believe in that. Yeah. They're going to do both. And Patrick's better. Right. So defensively, they're going to get after you, man. Yeah. But the Lakers have a lot of veterans and a lot of size, and got two freaks of nature. So
that's right. Kawhi and Paul grew up in Southern California, and they both watched you growing up. Are you at all surprised that maybe they wanted to do their own thing, but they kind of chose the Clippers? They weren't traded here, although Paul was, but he requested the trade. Are you surprised that they grew up in Los Angeles where they saw you and Shaq and you and Pau win, And they kind of want to do something different. I don't know your thoughts on.
I think it's just all situational.
Yeah.
It just depends on the moment in time. I'm sure wants to take the challenge of winning independent of playing with LeBron.
Yeah.
You fly LeBron James, right? It's a whole.
Yeah.
So I think they enjoyed or relished the challenge of taking on something new.
Yeah.
I don't think it was anything that was a slight towards the Lakers or
Yeah.
anything like that, but I think it was just more the circumstances
Yeah.
and what was already here in LA, and then wanting to take the challenge of building something new.
Yeah.
I think it was more along those lines. But the Lakers did okay.
They did more than okay. They did fantastic.
You know what I mean? Like, I saw a lot of Laker fans being very disappointed about
Sure,
it.
but-
And rightfully so.
Yeah.
Right? If you get quiet here with
Then
LB
it's-
and it's right. But you did get Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
You did okay.
yeah, you did all right.
You were part of
Yeah,
two of
right.
the best duos, you and Shaq, and very underrated you and Powell, which went to
Yeah.
3 straight finals, 1-2. How do you kind of rate these two duos? They're very unique, right? Two two-way players in Kawhi and Paul, and you got like KD and LeBron.
It just depends on how they mesh
Mhm.
in the system. System's very important. And you get guys integrated into a systematic approach, offensively and defensively. And, you know, they have to elevate each other.
Mhm. Most people don't get a second chance for Dwight to come back and maybe finish his career. Obviously, at a different place in his life and mind, and he realizes some of the. Are you happy that he's back and able to kind of maybe close out his career? I don't know.
I'm happy for him because, you know, sometimes we don't realize how much we love the game.
Yeah.
Or miss the game until, you know, that window starts closing.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
You know, I really miss playing the game.
Yeah.
I really want another opportunity to show what I can do. And you don't know if that opportunity ever is going to come again.
Yeah.
And so for him, I believe he's really appreciative of the opportunity. And I think he's going to make a hell of an impact.
Yeah.
Because of the new appreciation that he has for playing the game.
Was it pretty clear at the beginning, kind of early on, that wasn't like the right fit at the right time when he came here? Like it just wasn't the.
I mean, in all fairness, that second half of the season when I tore my Achilles.
Oh, yeah, you guys were.
Record in
Mhm.
the league second half of the season.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was a matter of it just didn't fit.
Yeah.
You know, we had to make things a little bit more contentious.
Yeah.
Than I wanted to, but the object is to win.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I tore my Achilles, and that kind of sidetracked everything. But that second half of the season, there's not a team in the Western Conference that wanted to play.
Yeah. How closely will you watch this season? And have you made a conscious effort? Because you love the Sparks games, and I always see you at the Sparks games. Do you not want to, you know, because sometimes like John Wooden would go to the UCLA games. I always felt like, man, it's a lot of pressure on the current coach. Have you made a conscious effort maybe not to go to a lot of Laker games because you don't want to take the focus away? I don't know what.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just, to be honest, like I have my routine at home.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a life.
You know what I'm saying?
I
So
feel
like,
you.
You know, it's not that I don't want to go.
Yeah.
It's just I'd rather be giving BB a shower.
I feel you. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Your father,
Singing
husband.
our Barney songs, and stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? No,
I
like
feel it. No,
I'd
makes
rather,
sense.
because I've gone through 20 years, and like the majority of my career with my kids and Natalia and Gianna, and
Yeah.
not being able to have that consistently.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me to make the trip up to Staples Center, that means I'm missing the opportunity to spend another night with my kids. And I know how fast it goes. Since Natalia's 16.
That's amazing.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like it's, you know, Gianna's 13.
Yeah.
Right? So that time came and went. And so I want to make sure that the days that I'm away from them are days that I like absolutely have to be away from them. Like I'd rather just be hanging with them, man.
And that's why you kind of had that pro invitation, because I think all these guys want to talk with you, and you're like, let's just do it one time, because your time is very valuable to you.
It is, man. It is, and you know that was a fun invitation. Man.
Yeah.
I had a good time. Players all had a good time. We had a chance to walk through very finite details of things, and thinking through things very specifically. I enjoyed it. I mean, this is what we're trying to do, man. It's just trying to help the next generation of athletes, you know, be better, man. That's all.
Yeah. When you get your statue, have you thought what you wanted it to look like? 'Cause I rated the number one moment at Staples Center. It was you on the scores table outside of the. Have you thought about, or is that something that's
not
something to you?
my job. My job is done. My job is trying to create the memories and the moments, and then it's somebody else's job to figure out which ones.
And I think Powell's number should be the next retired. This might be his last year, right? Not even close, right?
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Absolutely.
And last question, I think what you're doing right now will be just as big a part of your legacy and how we remember you. Is that your goal when people talk about you? It's like youth sports and Mamba Academy and just kind of, you had a great career, but what you can give back to kids in the community and youth and whatnot.
Hopefully, if we do it the right way, be known for more of what we do after than we did during.
Yeah.
Because I think it can have a lasting impact. I mean, you're winning championships, that's great. We build a fan base, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But when you can create stories and create moments and events and companies that can provide opportunities for a more diverse opportunities,
yeah,
and inspire kids,
yeah,
and create situations where people can be better, I think that has a lasting impact, more so than winning championships does. So we're working hard. We have a lot of work to do, but we're doing it, man.
And you never sleep, by the way. You're probably always working. I mean, I would say, I swear to God, probably guy sleeps like 2 hours a day, maybe.
Yeah, well, you know I am, man. Like,
yeah.
I take things very serious. Like, if I'm committed to doing something, I'm committed to doing it. So that requires a lot of thought being put into it. Whether it's the next novels that are coming out,
that's right, yeah.
Doing those, or building the animation studio, or doing the show detail, or coaching my kids.
Yeah.
Like, I got to make sure I put a lot of thought into the curriculum. How am I going to teach my kids how to play the game?
Yeah.
You got to take your time and think through these things because they're important.
Yeah.